You become so desensitized to everything, it becomes harder and harder to feel genuine shock. But this one really didn't fail. An Afghan illegal immigrant in the UK had his asylum claim rejected, but then had his lawyers successfully appeal the case and win him the right to remain in the country. For a reason that even in your wildest nightmares you couldn't possibly fathom.
And this is the extraordinary case of another convicted sex offender who continues to act inappropriately towards women, but was allowed to stay in Britain because committing sexual acts in public in Afghanistan would put him at high risk of physical violence from mob mentality.
Let me put that in plain English for you. This Afghan migrant arrived in the UK, was convicted in November 2017 for an act outraging public decency and exposure. Almost certainly jacking himself off in public. He gets imprisoned for 12 weeks, put on a sex offenders register for 7 years, continues to engage in such behaviour around women, but then was approved for refugee status in the UK and not deported, because publicly masturbating and committing sexual assault in Afghanistan is frowned upon, and he might be the victim of mob justice, and that if he is sent back to Afghanistan and faces the consequences of his actions, his mental health might deteriorate. In other words, he was granted refugee status, not despite being a sex offender, but because he was a sex offender. This guy's now roaming the streets of Britain, free to continue his disgusting behaviour in front of children, women, anyone who's unfortunate to be in the general vicinity. Thanks to his lawyers and the court that approved it. I never thought I'd say this, but I wish we were more like Afghanistan. The UK is full of activist law firms that will gleefully pro bono take on these cases, win them, and then brag in public about how great they are for defending the human rights of refugees.
And if firms have the capacity and the funding to take appeals on, they will do so.
While our country becomes the literal dumping ground for these kind of individuals, while all the social engineering on this kind of stuff looks like this.
What? What?
Nothing.
I can stand it.
And anyone who complains about the real problems, like Alex Phillips did, is demonised as a racist.
Because I've been living in London for 10 years. I've also lived in multiple other countries around the world. Never before have I felt as unsafe as I do now. When I walk down the street, I'm increasingly being leered at. I'm increasingly being followed like I'm going around the souks of Morocco. And it's not, visibly to me anyway, people who were born and bred here. It isn't. And it's very difficult because we're not allowed to talk about it because, oh my gosh, that breaks taboo. Oh, you're a racist if you say this. I'm sorry. A lot of women going about their daily business feel that their safety is being directly threatened by people who are coming from different cultures. And this needs to be discussed because I've had enough. All my other female friends have had enough. When I put this stuff online, the number of comments online from other women saying they've had enough and saying thank you for talking about this.
There's nothing more to be said. The true vulgarity of all this speaks for itself. If you value what I do and you want to help support me, please visit pauljosephwatson.locals.com and either pledge a one-time donation or subscribe to join my community, get early access videos, and message me directly. And exclusive live streams coming soon too. Promise. Check out the Locals link down in the description. And don't forget to take a look at the brand new website modernity.news. That's where you'll find all my content, including exclusive articles. That's modernity.news.